So today is the first rebuild of MLB The Show 25, and of course we had to do it with the worst team in baseball last year and probably this year, Chicago White Sox. So for this rebuild, I feel like I need a little bit of a plan of attack to make this team successful. And the first part, we got to look at this MLB roster and see which players we can kind of build around. And looking at it, I don't really know who in the pitching staff currently is going to be that guy. Let's see what happens over the next couple seasons. Maybe Jonathan Cannon, maybe Bryce Wilson, maybe someone like a Cam Boozer, Penn Murphy, maybe even James Karinchak. We'll have to wait and see. And offensively, we know about Luis Robert Jr., but the rest of the guys are really trying to fight for a spot. Who is going to be that cult hero? Who is going to be that diamond in the rough? That kind of just that unsung hero for the rebuild that really just continues to perform. Mr. Consistent, someone that we can rely on and just keep them in the lineup the whole time. Part 2 of my plan has everything to do with the prospects. We need to develop them. We need to improve the farm system, and we need to implement the top prospects that we have. Noah Schultz is one of them. Lefty starting pitcher, 6'9", looks to be super promising for the future. Along with Hagen Smith, we've got another pitcher there. Kyle Teal came over in the Crochet trade, a catcher. Maybe I move him to first base. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be an outfielder for me. And the reason I say that is because we got another catcher in Edgar Cuero. Jairo Iriarte, who I believe came over in the Dylan Cease trade. I think that's who it was. Either way, another starting pitcher, and then potentially in real life, the opening day starting shortstop. But for this rebuild, I'm going to start him off in AAA just because looking at his attributes for hitting, I just feel like they're not ready just yet. And then another player that came over in the Crochet trade, Braden Montgomery, switch hitting outfielder. He's going to need a few years before he's MLB ready. And then a sneaky guy I'll point out just now who's having a great spring training in real life, Grant Taylor. Battled injuries in the past, seems to be healthy now, and is lighting it up in real life. So let's see what he can do for this rebuild. And then Drew Thorpe wasn't listed in the prospect list, but another young pitcher that I want to get involved eventually. I don't know if it's going to be this year, maybe a late season call up. We'll have to wait and see, but another guy I wanted to give a shout out to. And then the third part of my plan is all about free agency and trades. I need to get my moves right. Am I going to make a big splash for a trade? Am I going to make a big sneaky free agent signing? It all has to wait to be seen, but I got to get my moves right. So we talked about my plan of attack for this rebuild, but of course, this rebuild would be too easy if I didn't put some challenges. So I've set myself 5 challenges for this rebuild. Number 5, of course, being win a World Series. We'll learn about 4 and 3 a little bit later, but let's start with the first 2 because these 2 challenges are going to be in effect until we make the postseason. And the reason that part 3 of my plan was to focus on making the right trades and free agency acquisitions was because rule number 1 is we have to rebuild on the cheap. Currently, Andrew Benintendi has the highest contract on the White Sox and is actually the biggest contract the White Sox have ever given out in their history. The issue is I feel like 15 mil is kind of becoming like the norm now for like average players. You've got 5 starters getting 15 mil. You've got Benintendi getting 15 mil. That's a decent amount of money. So until we make the postseason, the highest amount that I can offer to a free agent or the highest amount that I can acquire through a trade is whatever Luis Robert Jr. is making. And rule/challenge/goal number 2 is we have to find diamonds in the rough. So what that means is I can't sign or acquire any player over the rating of 76. And the reason I chose that number was because Luis Robert Jr. is 77 overall. He's clearly the star of the team, and we really shouldn't be trying to find a player better than him until we make the postseason. I definitely am going to have to be really smart with the moves that I make, but the reason I set those 2 challenges for the first part of the rebuild was because we're the worst team in baseball. We shouldn't be going out and giving big contracts, and we shouldn't be going out and acquiring superstars until we can prove that we can be competitive in baseball. So with that being said, we've gotten everything out of the way. Let's get to the first part, the draft. All right, for the draft, we have the 10th overall pick. Let me talk to you about the plenty of options that I have. Basically, I'll break it down for you. In the first round, my final option, if I have to go to him, Taguchi is the pitcher that I'm looking at. We currently have him at rank number 6. He looks pretty good though. So if he ends up falling to us, I'm perfectly fine with that. Again, pick number 10, I got to be a little lucky. We have Lionel Mueller, who also looks fantastic. I think he's going to be a little bit more of a project based on his per 9s, but you know what? At rank 4, I mean, it can't go wrong, right? Justin Emery is probably the pitcher I want the most. I just don't know if he's going to fall to me. He's ranked 3rd by MLB, number 1 by us. So again, we'll have to get really lucky for him to fall to us. And then these guys are position players. I think Victor here is probably the lowest rated player that I'd want. I just feel like his overall is going to be way too low. Not a lot of power. Doesn't really field. Doesn't really have that much speed. You know what I mean? McVale looks to be a pretty good middle infielder. okay hitting stats, but more of like a glove first guy. So like, again, he doesn't look bad, but I think there's better options out there. Michael Burrows at first base looks to be a good lefty hitter. He's going to be in the 60s. He's going to have some pop. He's going to have some potential. I like what I see. And then Jeff Landgraf is the final one out of the Dominican. Switch hitter, looks to be a really good hitter. Doesn't look like he's going to field, but we actually do need some depth in the outfield and the farm system. So I think this is going to be my number one target, him or Emery. Let's see what happens. The first pick is Andres Marrero, who, okay, Nationals, I'm okay with that. One less player that I have to worry about losing on my board. Number 2 is Richie Whitley. Again, not a player that was on my radar, so this is great for me. Like, I'm gonna have like the pick of the bunch. Like, this looks great. Jeff Webster, okay, a player that probably was gonna get drafted before me, so I didn't even talk about him. And now I'm just gonna skip to my pick. No, Emery went to the Rockies. Okay, let's see. Burrows went to the Marlins. So do I go Mueller? I think I said Mueller first. Mueller. He looks like he's going to be pretty good. I could also go to Gucci if I really wanted a pitcher, which, like, I'm not against getting a pitcher, but like, I also do have some pitchers that I can get later on in the draft. And we also do have quite a few prospects that I feel pretty comfortable with. So like, because I don't have a lot of position players for later on in the draft, I feel like maybe taking a position player makes the most sense. And I feel like getting this outfielder is just going to help us out. Like, yeah, this guy looks okay, but he just doesn't really look like he has the bat. So I'm going to go with Jeff Landgraf. We have him ranked 5th. We're getting him at the 10th spot. He's a switch hitter. I feel like this is a good pick. So Jeff, welcome to the South Side of Chicago. Second pick, we've got a few that we can go with. These pitchers that, of course, I've scouted. Bliss is definitely a long-term project, along with Towers and Serrano. Actually, Serrano walks, pitch. Okay. I might take the first baseman just to get another, what's it called? Another position player, because again, I feel like we can snag some talent later on in the draft. It looks like there's some pretty, like, this guy, his potential is not going to be the highest, but like, he looks like he could be an okay, maybe like bullpen arm or like a 6th man in the rotation. So I feel like we can get some talent a little bit later on in the draft. So like, maybe, do I take Serrano? I don't like the walks being that low, because I think I can get talent a little bit later in the pitching department. I'm going to take Zach here as the first baseman. Ryan Bliss is going to be my 3rd round pick. And then basically from here, I'm just going to take whoever I think looks best. So let's see what happens. I'm at the deadline and I looked through, not my block, but I looked through the trade block to kind of see if there was anybody that piqued my interest in our range where we can get. So basically Laureano down, and I'm like, Dustin May is a little interesting. I don't know if I'm like full send on it. Let me see. When does he become free agent? After this year? I wonder what he would actually like require to get traded. Morejon's also not a bad option. Really struggling in Major League Baseball this year, but one more minor league option as well. I might take a look at Morejon and Dustin May, and then if we take a look at other arms, bats, is there anybody that really I'm like, yeah, let's add him to the team? Ronnie Mauricio, maybe a little change of scenery, gets him back on track. I know he had the knee injury as well, but that could be a fun pickup. That could be a fun pickup for sure. Owen Casey, I feel like, is a little unrealistic. So Ronnie Mauricio, Dustin May, and Morejon. The thing is, I don't really have much to offer. Like starting pitcher, closer, catcher. Like I can offer Matt Thaiss if that's cool. That should not happen. Ooh. Do they need a catcher that bad? No, they don't. So like, I don't even know why they would. Do I take that trade? All right, so for Ronnie Mauricio, I can trade Mike Tauchman. He hasn't played at the major league level this year. He's got no more minor league options, and he's been mashing, or at least hitting fairly well in AAA. Or I can go to the Dodgers here, and I can acquire Dustin May or Tauchman, essentially. I would throw in just kind of whoever. I can throw in Thaiss because they're looking for a catcher, and I'm not going to use him. I could do that, and he's buried. They've got Sheehan, they've got Knack, Stone, Kershaw, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani. Like, realistically, like Kershaw's leaving, and that's really about it. So I was also looking at Grove being in the deal. I think I was gonna throw. I think I can do Thaiss or Tice. I don't really know which one it is, but I think I think it's Thaiss. But I could have done this and got Grove, which I kind of like what I'm seeing from Grove. But at the same time, if I can just get Dustin May and get a pitcher for the future, right? Like someone that I can kind of have in the rotation, he can settle as maybe like a 3, maybe like a 4, and he's gonna be cheap, but he does become a free agent fairly soon. That's another issue. Like I would really only have him for 1 year unless we make the postseason next year, because I have a feeling he's gonna ask for like 20 mil or something like that if he performs well. So that's another thing I got to take into consideration. Like, can I re-sign these players if we don't make the postseason? And then I would just have to flip them next year, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe instead I go for someone that we can, could potentially be a part of the team moving forward in Ronnie Mauricio for Talkman. We keep Thaiss, and that's gonna be a trade. It's a little bit different. Let's see what Ronnie Mauricio can do. All right, the rest of the trades I'm doing are pretty boring. It's gonna be Austin Slater for Ryan Barucki, just to get some bullpen depth. Brandon Williamson is gonna be acquired for Clevenger. Hasn't pitched at the major league level, has been very good at AAA, and has a couple minor league options, along with Julian Aguiar, who again pretty good in AAA. So I'm liking what I'm acquiring. So I'm going to give him Thyson Murphy for Morihone. He's on the block. He's having a bad season. He doesn't really have that many options left. I don't necessarily need a lefty, but let's take a shot. Let's see what happens. He's probably one of the best relievers we're going to have, so let's see what happens. So following the deadline, this is what the team's looking like. It is bad. It is so bad. I'm not going to talk that much about it because it is bad, but we're still trying to find those guys that we can build around, and I'm not really seeing much. Maybe Cam Boozer could be an okay middle relief arm, but outside of that, it's looking pretty poor. Offensively, Josh Rojas is doing okay. Luis Robert Jr. is kind of doing what he normally does. Bobby Dahlbeck just now is getting in the starting lineup, so I'm not really taking his numbers too seriously. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Lenin Sosa is doing pretty well against lefties, so he might be one of those platoon bats that we just keep around. Outside of that, I don't really know what to say. Prospects are developing, but none of them are really close to being MLB ready, so I don't really just want to throw them into the team just to throw them into the team, and we'll go from there. But now it's time to talk about the draft picks. Let's see what we got here. That's a good draft. We've got 89 potential for Landgraf, who, you know what, it may not be a potential, but the guy looks like he can hit. I really like that. We've got Zach here, first baseman, lefty bat, 58 overall. Good fielding, decent hitting stats. I'm all about it. Ryan Bliss, 61 overall with B potential. Towers, 53 overall. Yikes. But B potential, C potential for Doss. We've got C potential for Mays, and then back to the top. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me go see if I can find some of those pitchers we looked at. All right, Lionel went to the Astros. He had A potential, so that's a little bit of a bummer to miss out on him. And Taguchi also had A potential. So the two pitchers we had available to us both had A potential. He actually looks pretty solid, but I'm pretty happy getting that outfielder because, you know, looking at our depth chart for the future, besides Robert, we don't really have any outfielders. So I feel like that was a good pickup for us. So let's see what we can do. Let me double check, make sure I didn't pick up anybody that was too high rated. I don't think I did. I made sure I paid pretty close attention to that. So I think we should be okay. I don't think I really acquired anybody that had, 73 I think was the highest with Morihone, and then budget wise we should be good. I guess I should actually do it here. So yeah, Robert still the highest. Narvaez for some reason is making 7.5 mil, but he's not part of the team moving forward. So there it is. That's basically season 1. Let's finish it off. All right, 53 on 109. Season was pitiful. Realistically, I don't even really care about the stats that these players put up. Jordan hit 323 with 52 home runs. He was MVP. We got Shohei on the other side who hit 61 home runs. Pretty impressive while also throwing a 3 ERA. It's pretty good. 10 triples, 40 doubles. Pretty solid season. Roki Sasaki won Cy Young with a sub-3 ERA, along with Garrett Cole, who had a 2.6 ERA. I mean, the whole AL right here was dueling it out for the Cy Young. Batting title was Vladdy, along with Xavier Edwards. Jason Adam, along with Clase, were the relievers of the year. And then Rookie of the Year went to Griffin Conine of the Blue Jays, along with Roki Sasaki. As a team, we ranked last in batting average. No surprise there. And also runs. I don't even want to see pitching. Yeah, we had the worst ERA too. Drew Thorpe got a small taste of baseball at the major league level this year, and 5 starts, 4-1 with a 2.3 ERA. I don't expect him to continue that over a full season, but overall pretty impressed. James Karinchak actually had a pretty decent season this year. I probably will bring him back in his contract year on arbitration, let him be a setup guy, let him be a closer, something like that. Why not? And then outside of that, like ERA wise, whip wise, it wasn't amazing. Like there's a couple guys, like maybe Brandon Williamson could be okay in the long relief role. Maybe someone like Cam Boozer can help us in the middle relief role. But for the most part, pitchers as a whole, not great. Maybe Bryce Wilson is like a 5 in the future. We'll have to wait and see. And then when we kind of move through the team, Ronnie Mauricio had the highest average, but again, he only had 146 ABs. So it's not a bad season. We'll have to wait and see what he can do for a full year. Lenin Sosa only faced lefties, but was pretty productive against them. Bobby Dahlbeck, again, small sample size, but you know what? Off the bench, might be a guy that we can turn to. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But for the most part, averages, OPS, run support, it was all pretty bad offensively. So again, not really looking like guys we can build with. And to give a quick breakdown of how players progressed over the last couple months of the season, you can kind of see Hagen Smith had a great year. Noah Schultz did too, +4, +5. We got a +10 for Kyle Teal. He's up to a 70 overall, or +10 for power versus lefties. I like to see that. Montgomery up to a 71. Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Some really good development. Maybe he is our opening day shortstop next year. Cuero up to a 68, had some pretty good development too. Iriarte, Braden Montgomery up to a 64. I like that. And then Grant Taylor, see potential. Okay, but 67 overall. So far, so good. Let's see. Anybody else that we should look at? Chase Midroth. I know he was the Crochet trade, but 64 overall. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's free agent time. After I tell you who wins the World Series, of course, the Cubs defeat the Yankees. If that happens in real life, I will be so happy. Alrighty, it's free agent time, which is like the big change for franchise this year. One small change is you can actually sort by Rule 5 eligible now, and it'll sort by the highest overall player first. If you go to like Rule 5 eligible sort, it'll always have the highest overall player first. That is Rule 5 eligible. So I've gone through this. If some of these guys get chosen, it's not the end of the world. I'll be perfectly fine with it. Yeah, I looked. I added Ryan Barucki as like the one player I didn't want to lose from these Rule 5 eligible guys. So there's that. They made that change for this year's franchise free agency. So how this works is we've got some positional needs, right? I definitely need a pitcher. Let me take a look at the depth chart, which was also something that changed, where you can see everybody in your organization now. I believe maybe not pitchers, probably because there's just so many pitchers, but like you can kind of see, we can see everybody that is a first baseman, everybody that's a shortstop, everybody that's a third baseman. So just kind of looking at it right off the rip, definitely need some outfield help. I think Colson Montgomery is going to start at short, maybe a third baseman, maybe a DH. Definitely a starting pitcher or two. So outfield, starting pitcher, and then some infield help. That's a lot of needs. That's a lot of needs. So there we go. So look, I guess let me look at the team, see if we're like righty heavy, lefty heavy. So maybe I could use a lefty starter. I do have some prospects that we could turn to, but at the same time they're not ready just yet. So maybe a lefty starter, and looking at the offense, really, I could use anything. So I'm actually going to target in free agency. I'm going to go a starter. So we could do Montgomery, maybe like Josh Rojas at one of these positions. Let's take a look. Who has like Mateo, Jorge Polanco could be a target. I'm just kind of seeing who's available to see what I want to target. Not really great options here. Yikes. Maybe an outfielder that I could. Conforto doesn't want like any money. That's an interesting one. Okay, so I might target an outfielder to start. So positional needs, I'm gonna go for a left fielder, and then starter, and maybe let's just go third baseman for now, and we might adjust it as need be. And then team needs, we'll go with a left-handed pitcher, and then we could use a little bit of power. but also like a little bit of oh, I can only pick two. Okay, so power and a left-handed pitcher. That's what I'm looking for. And then positional needs, those three there. So the big board, how this works is the top 150 free agents are added to the big board. As you can see, they're not in order of overall. There's like contract demands, how they performed, their potential, their age, their position, all that stuff plays into effect on where they rank on the big board. But if you go outside of the top free agents, as you can see, I have all free agents here. If I go outside the top 150, it goes back to the normal free agent system. So outside of the top 150, you can just sign players whenever you want, however you want. So I could sign Chris Newell if I really wanted to. But for top 150 players, that is what the big board is for. And then one last thing before I forget, prospects that you just drafted, right? Of course, this is not how it's gonna be easiest. Roster history. Prospects that you just drafted can earn quirks. You will find out if they have quirks in the first offseason after you draft them. So I was looking through my prospects, and Doss has it. He has Rally Monkey and Pickoff Artist, and then Landgraf also has Rally Monkey, which is performs better when team is behind, which is always going to happen. That's a perfect quirk for our prospect. Those were the only two that got a quirk. So there you go. So if you're looking for your prospects to have quirks, they'll be there in the first off season if they have them. But yeah, big board. Yes, I look to see. So the highest we can go is 76 overall. So I could go for John Gray, which I don't necessarily know if, nope, I can't afford him. What is Lubob making this year? What was it? 8.9? I believe it was 8.3. So like 8 mil is the highest I can go, which, okay, I feel like I can work with that. Let me add some players to the big board. All right, so I was looking at the pitchers, and realistically, I'm going to wait a little bit in free agency to see if more pitchers become available as they don't agree contracts with their teams and they become free agents. So instead, I've changed my positional needs to fit these three players. They're not demanding that much. They all fit in with the money that we're allowed to spend and also the overall. I was so close. I saw Lamont Wade Jr. and he was 77 overall. And I was like, he's at 8.4. I wonder if I could get him to 8.3. But instead, we're gonna go with a couple different options. Some older players, but could be trade pieces in the future. Or like Michael Conforto's got peak potential. He might be a sneaky bat for a season or two. So I'm gonna lock these guys in. As you can see, I can see their demand and motivation boost. I'm getting plus 5%. Motivation boost is basically their interest in you, or like how high a percentage you have of signing them. So we've got 5 for Conforto. You can kind of see the other factors that we've got going on. For Polanco, we've got 5% as well, and for Josh Bell, we have 3%. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm gonna lock these in, and let's move forward really quickly. Let me show you our coaches now. Our coaches are so good. We should see some development from our players moving forward instead of the really bad coaches that we had in the past. Let's get going. All right, so we got a rival opportunity. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to get Vladdy. He is just not attainable for our team right now. But as you can see, everybody's at 45% motivation to sign. I need 50% to sign them. So I'm going to keep it as is. Like I'm not going to mess with it. We're going to sim a few days in the future. Devin Williams goes to the Phillies on a 5-year, $73 million deal. Ryan Helsley to the Cubs on a 4-year, $47 million deal. Framber goes to the D-backs. Okay. Was that 2 years, 60 mil? All right. 40-man, I think we've got locked up, so we're good. And now we're at 50% to sign a player. And to be honest, I think I'm going to just try to sign a guy. Like, let's just offer him. Can I offer him 1 year? It does drop him to 50%, but I'm gonna bump it up to like 5.5 and just send the contract in, see if we can get him locked up. And like if he does well, then maybe we try to sign him again after this season. But I feel like 1 year, a little bit of a prove it deal, especially since they took away the options and contracts, which is really annoying. But for Polanco as well, I'm gonna offer him a contract too. He wants 2 years. Again, I'm gonna bump it to 1 year, 7.14. It's a little bit more than I was anticipating, but we'll make it work. And then for Josh Bell, I can't offer a contract yet. So again, let's just keep going and let's see what happens. Conforto contract decision. Offer isn't quite what I was looking for, but we're not too far apart. So that's good to know. Michael King ends up going to the Orioles on a pretty big deal there. Arbitration, I think I actually offered everybody that I wanted to. Perfect. We're good there. And now Dylan Cease. The Orioles are building that rotation. Okay, Polanco contract decision. We got Jorge Polanco to the team. He has C potential. I missed that. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Vladdy to the Diamondbacks. Big contract. And now back to free agency. So we can try to sign Josh Bell. I'm actually going to see if there's been any new players added, maybe at like first base that we could potentially target, like Jonah Bride. I don't think so. Jose Miranda. Hold on. I might try to sign Jose Miranda. Joey Gallo was a guy that I offered a contract to in exclusive negotiations and he didn't take it. I'm going to see if he sits in free agency for a little bit more and I might pick him up as like a bench bat for us. Let's see. Any new names here? Tyro Estrada. No? Okay. He looks pretty bad. He looks pretty bad there. I'm not really seeing any other. Ooh, how much does he want? Yeah, this is he didn't have the greatest of seasons, but the B potential, he's 29. That's got to be a guy we look to pick up for sure. That is 100% a guy that we look to pick up. Anybody else? Esteury Ruiz. Okay, there we go. Alec Burleson. Okay, Pavin Smith. He didn't have the best of years, but he gets kind of glitchy in franchise. This kind of changes what I'm thinking now. Okay, so we signed Polanco, so he can play second or third or DH for us, which would take away the need for Josh Bell. Because like I was thinking Vaughn would play first or Bell could play first and the other one would DH. So now I'm kind of thinking we don't necessarily need Josh Bell and we could go in a different direction. Maybe some pitchers that we could look at. John Means just out of range. John Gray. There's Montgomery, Heaney. I think now we start to attack some pitchers because I'm seeing some names here that I feel like, I mean, can we even afford like maybe someone like Paddock? No. Heaney, no. I mean, those guys are out of our price range. So I think I'm gonna look through this again. I looked at Walker Buehler. He had an okay year, but his per nines look atrocious. So I'm gonna take a peek. I'm gonna see what's available. Tony Gonsolin's available. Yes, please. Make him number one priority over Conforto. And we're gonna replace Josh Bell. So I'm gonna lose a little bit of motivation on him, but I'm actually gonna go for, where was he? Was he a shortstop? Jose Caballero. He also needs to be on the board, and that's what's gonna be. Jose Caballero can play second. He can play third. I know we have depth there now, but at the same time, B potential. This is a guy that we got to take a chance on. Alrighty, Conforto, I did offer him another 1-year deal. Again, still not there, which is a little disappointing. Gallon goes to the Rockies. Interesting move there. Okay, so we've got these guys here, still not at 100%, but positional needs wise, I'm gonna move it around. So shortstop and pitcher. So I don't need the first baseman anymore. I don't need that. And we're gonna get the boosts this week, which should be huge. So I'm not gonna show you every single week, but if a decision comes up or like a rival opportunity or something pops up, I'll show you for free agency. Kyle Tucker returns to the Astros on a massive deal. If that happens, I'd be so bummed as a Cubs fan. Ranger Suarez goes to the Padres, and okay, no like rival opportunities or anything. Okay, he's still at 47. That's tough. All right, I'm gonna send one more contract to Conforto. Hopefully we get something going. Caballero's still not there. I'm going to send a 1-year $3 million deal to Gonsolin. Is it worth maybe a 2-year deal with him? At worst, he's a 5, right? At worst, he's a 5. I'm gonna take a chance with a 2-year deal with Gonsolin and then hope that maybe we can get Caballero locked up next week. Hopefully. Let's see what happens. We got Tony Gonsolin to sign. Hunter Harvey has signed with the Phillies. No, I offered him $5.5 million. What? We got our first free agent opportunity where an agent is reaching out to us about Jesse Winker. I've looked at our team. We don't need any more like Jesse Winker type players. I feel like he would be solid for us. Is at the high end of what we can acquire, and he looks like he's great. It's just I've set up our lineup. We're a little a little tight on positions. So I'm actually gonna, I need a catcher, by the way. I didn't really see that I needed a catcher, but do I think we try this. I missed out on Jose Trevino, which is a little annoying, and I'm still trying to add some pitching to the team. So hopefully we can get that done. Another free agent opportunity. I don't want Sam Hilliard, but I am going to offer him a 1-year deal in Ben Lively. And then I'm also going to offer Elias Diaz a 1-year deal. I think that might actually be it for free agency. I've looked at the team. I would like to add a little bit more. Like I've added Johnny Lasagna to the bullpen, but I'd like to maybe make a trade. We could do that. And then maybe add another arm here, which is going to be Ben Lively. And then like offensively, you can kind of see what we're working with here. Benintendi is someone that I want to get off the books. I think I might trade him for a reliever or something. I've heard it's pretty difficult to trade bad players with bad contracts who performed badly. So we'll see how that goes. Well, actually, let's do that right now. Let's just get rid of him now and see what we can get, if anything. Okay, so there is a lot of D potential players in what I'm seeing. So I think I'm just going to go, Jorge Alcala is actually not a bad get. So I'm actually just going to send him to like a really bad team. Who else is really bad besides us? The Rockies? Yeah, the Rockies can take him. Do they need him? They could. And then I'll just take, whatever, honestly. Literally just give Cooper Criswell. Can I have him? I'll take him. Do I really want that? Yeah, I'll take him. Actually, yeah, I guess I do, unless they have like anything. Can I get like, no, it's gonna have to be a reliever. Okay, so yes, we'll take Cooper Criswell, and that'll be the trade. We get the salary off the books, and I wasn't gonna play him anyways. It works for us. In season 2, here we are, still ranked 30th. What a surprise. Here's what we've done in the offseason. I've shown you a majority of it, but Gonsolin and Lively have both been added. $3 million for Gonsolin, 4.5 for Lively. We'll see what happens. Drew Thorpe, full season debut. Hopefully it goes well. AAA, only Iriarte to start. This is what the bullpen's looking like for now. And then I'm going to let Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz develop a little bit more before I call them up, and we'll go from there. But I have faith in my pitching staff. Things are looking fairly good. I mean, the bullpen's looking fine too. I ended up bringing in Joe Ross on a 1-year deal, 3.4 or 3.7 mil. And then Johnny Lasagna came in on a 4 mil deal. So we'll see. I don't really know what to expect besides like really bad stuff. So this is going to be the team heading into the season. A lot of new faces. I'm not expecting to be good. Like I said, I don't know what to expect. It's going to be bad, right? But I'm still trying to find who is that guy that we can keep around. Is Josh Rojas going to be somebody? Is Vaughn, Polanco, Caballero, Conforto, Mauricio, Colson Montgomery's getting his debut. Lenin Sosa was pretty good versus lefties last year, so if he can just continue to do that, I think that would be an okay little diamond in the rough for us. MJ Melendez was signed for 4 mil, didn't play at all last year, so let's see if we can utilize his power a little bit. Betancourt as a backup catcher, and then this is currently what our AAA squad is looking like. Teal is kind of the main guy to look for. Miguel Vargas, I think, is just kind of a bust at this point. I just don't think he's going to do anything for this rebuild. And then in AA, we've got Zach, we've got Braden Montgomery, and we've got Jeff Landgraf along with Cuero. So we've got some talent in the AA squad. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So season 2, let's see how we do. All right, so deadline time, it's not going great. 40-69, kind of expected that, but offensively, not terrible. Not terrible. Josh Rojas, 262, which like, okay, leadoff hitter, you'd want a little bit higher on base percentage, but not terrible, right? Lubob, pretty decent season. Andrew Vaughn, not so much, but Conforto's unbelievable. Realistically, I should have him in that spot. Caballero's doing okay, better than last year, but honestly, I was hoping for a little bit better. I really was. Polanco is garbage. He's got to go. He's probably getting moved to the bench. Ronnie Mauricio's doing okay. I think I could work with that. Montgomery's struggling, Corey Lee is struggling, and back to Rojas. So basically, like, it's like mediocre at best, right? Like it's nothing too crazy. Our bench is doing okay. Like Melendez is doing fine, Jolks, Lenin Sosa. Like for the most part, I'm happy with the production that we're getting because I wasn't really expecting that much. The big thing that we need to talk about is this guy. A potential now. He was hitting close to 350 in AA, like he was tearing it up. So I called him up to AAA now. He is developing so quickly. Sadly, Kyle Teal is really struggling in AAA. Edgar Cuero is getting close to being called up. I'm actually debating moving Teal to be a first baseman. That way we at least have some sort of first baseman in the works along with Zach here. And that way we could have Cuero be the catcher, because it looks like Cuero's developing pretty well. So we'll see what happens. I might call up Teal to finish off the season just to see how he does in a small sample size. So there's that. The big issue on why we're struggling so much is our bullpen. It is atrocious. It is so bad besides Johnny Lasagna. That's literally it. Our starters aren't that great either. And I've already sent down some guys. So like James Karinchak, I think had like what, an 8 ERA? It was brutal. Schultz and Hagen Smith have been called up. I also called up Jairo Iriarte, who's struggling. So it's just really bad. So I'm at this point now where like I gave Gonsolin a 2-year deal. Do I trade him? Like, should I trade him now and then just again try to build for season 3 and then maybe like really hope we get lucky? So I'm looking at the team. And if I really wanted to, what I could do is I could take Polanco out, right? And we could move some pieces around. So like I could move, realistically, I need like a starting, do I just call up Landgraf? Maybe not yet, maybe next year. So I still will need an outfielder, right? Because like Conforto can play left, I need a right fielder. Because like Jolks, Melendez, I guess I could give Melendez the rest of the season. And I could do something like he moves to, how are we going to do this? I might send down Colson Montgomery because he's struggling so much and I want him to kind of pick it up towards the end of the year. So I'm thinking Rojas there. In left field, we go Melendez. We put Conforto in the DH spot and then let's get an outfielder. And Melendez realistically isn't going to be an everyday guy. So I probably will need an outfielder even if we do have Landgraf. So I think that's what we're going to target, an outfielder for offense right now. And then maybe a pitcher. I don't really know. I feel like pitching is just kind of a lost cause and let's try to rebuild it in the off season. So I think let's build some offense. So Tristan Beck was on the trade block. I'm going to pick him up. B potential reliever. Yeah, give me some of that. He's pitching well in the majors too. I don't know why he's on the block. I'm going to get rid of Ben Lively. Contract's expiring. He's not really pitching well. He's decreasing in overall. Let's do that. All right, this is the big one. B potential. Evan Carter, 76 overall. He's right on the cusp of eligible players to pick up at this point in the rebuild. Played 196 ABs, 72 games. He's having an okay year. The average is a little low, but he's 23, B potential, 76 overall, can play the outfield, can play all outfield positions with good speed. They want a starter, reliever, catcher, shortstop, or center fielder. I don't really have a shortstop. I mean, I guess I could offer Caballero, but like that seems like a catcher prospect probably makes the trade possible. And then starter, what about Jairo? I mean, like, I don't want to give him Bryce Wilson. He hasn't been. I mean, I could give him Gonsolin if they really wanted to. If I do that, where would he'd be what, 76? He'd be their 5 starter, which like obviously is not good enough. But again, his value isn't gonna get better, right? Like this is probably the best he's gonna be. So I think Gonsolin, and we throw in like another prospect. Like let's go with. I thought we drafted. I mean, do we throw in Zach? Not a lot of power. He's gonna hit fairly well, good fielding. Like I feel like I can draft this player again, right? Like, or I can find one in free agency, and then I'll also throw in someone that I'm also not going to use, that maybe a little bit lower, maybe someone like Bliss, or let's go with Towers. So 2 pitchers, a first baseman for Evan Carter. I mean, that's a deal. All right, Loizaga for Dylan Coleman. It's like one of the better relievers that I can find that has a little bit of potential. I've looked around. It's a 1-for-1. We'll be fine there. And I'm also trying to see what other players have done well that I want to get rid of. I guess Bryce Wilson's the last piece that I feel comfortable getting rid of. Maybe Jose Caballero. I'm not going to get rid of Polanco. I'm just going to let him chill on the bench. So I guess Bryce Wilson. Cade Povich pitching? He's not really pitching. Let's see. Would Bryce Wilson get in their rotation? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really. They're also not looking for a starter. So I'm gonna look around. There's got to be someone. The Astros, but the Astros don't really have a pitching prospect. I guess I could go after Lionel. I don't know. And then the final trade is literally the only trade I can make work. I really want to go to the Diamondbacks to get this guy called Brandon Fukudome. Looks like he's going to be decent and has been really good in AAA. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little cheesy to just take their prospect just because. So I'm going to just basically a like for like swap. They're the same age, almost the same rating. It's just Ashcraft is a little bit more expensive. So it's fine. It's just an extra pitcher for us. We were going to let Bryce Wilson walk in free agency anyways. So with how poorly our bullpen is, I'm expecting poor results moving forward. So I'm just going to see, like, let's give him another run, and I guess I'm going to rotate players in and out and see, oh, I have Dylan Coleman here. So I guess we go like this, flip these two, and that is our new bullpen / rotation. And then lineup wise, really the only change is Evan Carter comes in at right field, which I'm okay with. I feel like this is a pretty good squad. I did want to send down Colson. I almost said Colton. That's not his name. So we'll do that. We'll call up Amaya as the backup shortstop. And now I get to show you the absolute stud that we found. 94 potential. Stephen Hunt can play third, can play second, can play outfield if we really need him to. But good speed, good fielding, decent clutch, discipline, vision, contact numbers. This is our third baseman for the future, or second baseman for the future, or left fielder for the future. Then we've got Esteban Huerta, who can play first base, and that's it. Right-handed bat, looks really similar hitting-wise to Hunt, so I'm pretty happy there. Then we got some pitchers that are lower rated, but you know what? I'm liking what I'm seeing. Overall, a really strong draft class. To be honest, this entire draft class was juiced. Really good pitchers. Like, I'll just kind of quickly fly through this. Like, Varela was on my board that I was interested in. Sanchez was, Shepard was, Lambert was, and also there was one more. And who was it? It wasn't Gomes Phelps. There was another pitcher, I believe, that had some really good potential. It was this guy. It was a shortstop. It was Nate Hopp. But the reason I wasn't interested was he was 5'7", and I was like, that's not a shortstop, you know. But either way, that's just a crazy draft by us. First 3 picks, fantastic. Stephen Hunt easily gonna be in the majors in a season or two, and then with him, Landgraf. I mean, the team's looking pretty good for the future. Not right now, though. So let's keep building. 59 and 103, which is worse than last year. No, better. Ho! We're moving up in the world. Love to see it. So I'm assuming no awards, right? Like, yeah. Judge and Ohtani, MVP. Ohtani with back-to-back MVPs. We've got Cy Young for Ohtani, so the Dodgers are just going to run away with it every year. Tanner Bybee with the Cy Young this year. We've got batting title of Tucker and Mookie Betts. And then Ryan Walker is your reliever of the year, along with Griffin Jacks. We have Patrick Elliott. He was in the first-year draft. He was a first baseman that I had my eye on, but decided not to go for him. Actually, I think he would have been drafted before me, my pick at number 10. But yeah, he was a rookie. He is the rookie of the year. And Jordan Lawler. Okay. I think this guy was also in the first-year player draft in the first season. Interesting. So let me show you the team. Team rankings, we were not last for batting average, which is huge, and we weren't last for runs. What about ERA? ERA is going to be a little bit different just because it's going to be a little skewed because we don't have it. We're last anyways. Okay, it's not skewed. Either way, player stats really quick. Let's see. Kyle Teal, I called up for the final month, the September call-ups. How did he do? Pretty poorly. Not great. Let's see. Anybody else that I had in the majors that we could quickly take a look at? Melendez cooled off a lot once he was put in the starting lineup a little bit more. So that's good to know. Definitely more of a bench bat moving forward if we decide to keep him on the team. And if we take a look just really quickly, if I sort this by average, you've got Josh Rojas at the top with Caballero right behind him, which yikes. Robert, who hit 27 home runs though. That's not too bad. You know what? Let's just go to the lineup. Let's see what we got. Lenin Sosa hit 250. Polanco hit 240. Jolks hit 247. Okay, so the bench pretty consistent I need Montgomery to really turn it around next year. We've got Evan Carter who hit 226, so he might not be a leadoff guy, and that's okay. I feel like maybe we lower him a little bit in the lineup, maybe somewhere like where Rojas is, and maybe Rojas isn't the leadoff guy either, but maybe that's what we target this offseason. Robert with 27 home runs, Conforto with 27 home runs. I actually think, yeah, he developed quite a bit. What about Lubob? I'll take it. Andrew Vaughn, I think, is going to be more of a bench bat, so he'll probably take over for Dahlbeck, and then maybe we're in the market for a first baseman. Unless I do what I said with Teal and make Teal first baseman, Cuero the catcher. We'll see. Caballero was a little disappointing. He hit 257, but I guess that's kind of in line with the rest of the team. 226 for Evan Carter, 246 for Ronnie Mauricio. Again, it's like, it's not bad, but it's just like league average. It's nothing that's like, yeah, we need those guys in the team. Yeah, this guy's starting next year. There's just no point not to. We might as well just get him into the team. Brandon Montgomery's up to a 66. Kind of a mixed bag in terms of development. Cuero had a great season in terms of development. And I think that was really about it for position players. Really quickly, pitchers. I already know it's going to be bad, but Ashcraft had a 4 ERA. We have a 3.99 for Owen White. Cannon had a 3.87, so maybe a back end arm for him. Jairo Iriarte with the 4.7 and a 4.6 for Thorpe. Looking at the bullpen, it looks like some guys turned it around the second half of the season, which is good to see. Tristan Beck looks like a guy I can definitely rely on. And is there anybody here that I should even look at? Hagen Smith, good development there. Noah Schultz, also very good development. And Grant Taylor with the B potential now, also some decent development. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing for sure. Off-season time. I'm not going to show you the full off-season again as the Twins defeat the Dodgers. So right now, Morejon, Rojas, and Barucki are going to be the offers out. I don't know about Vaughn. I really don't. I think I'm going to hold off on Vaughn. And I think those three are the ones I'm going to rock with. Staff's still looking the same, which is good to see. And as we head into the offseason, it's now time to figure out what we're going to do with free agents, because there's some really good free agents available. Can I get them? Of course not. But I don't need an outfielder. I feel like outfield, we're set. We're set. Unless there's somebody that just like, yeah, we definitely need to get them. Infields, I guess this is where we take a look. So Montgomery at short, right? Wherever short may be. Left field is going to be, where is he? We're just going to do it. Let's get this guy going. Get him into the team. I mean, he's like, what, our third best player? He is our like 7th best player. Might as well. I know you're like, no, you're rushing him. That's fine. It's fine. We'll be fine. So with this in mind, I think a first baseman and potentially a middle infielder that can get on base. So first baseman or a middle infielder that can get on base. So first base, we have Arise, which would literally solve everything. Is that really gonna be my signing this year? Luis Arise? Is that really what I'm gonna do? Luis Arise. It might have to be. Season 3, and we've moved up a rank. 29th. Hey, we're making moves. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Really quickly, let me take a look at the budget. We're looking good. No one is over Lou Bob's contract. Also, let me double check. Conforto was already on the team. Caballero was already on the team. Carter, Thorpe. Okay, so everybody's below 76. Awesome. So let's talk about the team. What did I do this offseason? Walker Buehler was actually offered to me by an agent, and I was like, you know what? Why not? $7.5 million. He was okay last year in 60 innings. Realistically, I need to make the playoffs this year. And free agency, when you can only sign 76 overall players, is difficult, especially when you have a cap on how much money you can spend. Bryce Wilson's back. He was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll come back, even though you just traded me away. He is the second highest paid player on the team. So there's that. Then we have Ashcraft, Cannon, and Thorpe. There we go. Owen White is going to hold down this spot. I thought about giving it to Jairo, but I don't know. I don't know yet with him. But I like the rest of the pitchers that we've got going on here in AAA. A lot of homegrown talent here. Bullpen currently looks like this in AAA because I went out and got Michael Kopech in the Rule 5 draft. I got Michael Grove in the Rule 5 draft, so I took them both from the Dodgers. AJ Puck decided to join us on a $6 million deal. He looked pretty good last year. Honestly, he should be our setup guy and or closer. Has he been closing? Last year he did a little bit. It looks like he has more success as a setup guy, so I'm going to leave him there. We still have Tristan Beck and then Morejon along with Jorge Lopez, who joined us on the last day of free agency, actually. He was literally just sitting there, and I was like, yeah, let's pick him up. Let's see what happens. So in terms of talent, I think this is the best pitching staff that we've had as a whole. I think this is the most depth we've had as a whole. So I'm really hoping we take the next step so we can move into phase 2 of this rebuild, so we can move towards the 3rd and 4th goal. And then, that's obviously before the World Series, which would end the video. So what did I do to make this team better? Ty France joins the squad. He's going to face lefties as our first baseman. He was pretty good last year for the Blue Jays. I thought for $4.5 million, we'll see what happens. Then we've got Corey Lee, Corey Julks, and MJ Melendez still on the bench with Lenny Sosa. And then obviously Landgraf has joined the team. Arise has also joined the team. The guy who hits nothing but singles and offers nothing else. I'm going to need him to hit singles every single time he's up to the plate. So there we go. We've got Landgraf, Robert, Conforto, Mauricio, Evan Carter, Jose Caballero, Colson Montgomery. I might switch those two. And then Kyle Teal. Let's see how this goes. I actually need to adjust this here. So we're going to go here. Teal's going to be our catcher. Conforto is the DH. And this should be Ty France. And I'm actually going to play really bad defense. And I'm going to take out Ronnie Mauricio. Caballero goes there. Arise is going to play second. And he's going to lead off for us versus lefties. Yeah. I mean, is Lenny Sosa the guy? He was really bad in the leadoff role. So I think he's more of a let's put him down lower in the lineup. I mean, I don't hate the team. I think this is actually a pretty solid team. It's just, yeah, we really need to make the postseason. That's really what it comes down to. We really need to make the postseason. So with that being said, I mean, we also need to make the postseason because Luba is about to become a free agent, and I would love to keep him on the team. So making the postseason would allow me to keep him on the team. Otherwise, I feel like we're in a tricky situation where I might have to trade him away. And essentially, I guess it wouldn't be restarting the rebuild because we never really got far in the rebuild. Season 3, we're going to do it. I can feel it. Right, so I've spent about 30 minutes looking for a trade on the at deadline. And as you can see, we're 5.5 games out of the division. And in the wild card, we're at 9.5. So we really need to close the gap in the Central, I guess. The big thing here is team ERA is at a 3.7, which is comparable to the other two. It's the offense that's really letting the team down. I've looked around. For players that are 76 and below, there's not a lot of talent that I feel like is better than what we already have. There is one player, but I plan on doing a Guardians rebuild soon just because I didn't do one in MLB The Show 24. So I don't want to pick up Travis Bazzana because I'll probably have a Guardians rebuild here out like next week or something. So like I just feel like I don't really want to reuse a player that early, especially someone that's like one of the top prospects in an organization. So with that in mind, we have Stephen Hunt. He got called up. He was tearing it up in AAA. He had like a 340 average. It was crazy. Sadly, Braden Montgomery kind of cooled off from where he was. And same thing with Edgar Cuero. I'm really tempted to bring up Bobby Dahlbeck. It's just how my second base and third base backups aren't that great unless I put, all right, I know what to do. We're going to go Sosa sent down to AAA. Dahlbeck's going to get called up and we're going to go Dahlbeck at third. Nope, I messed that up. We're going to go like that. So let's see how it goes. Pitching wise, actually not that bad though. Like I said, I've had to switch out like the 5-starter every once in a while. Like Ashcraft got sent down. Then I just had Davis Martin up and he was terrible in 3 starts. So we're going to give Ashcraft another chance. If that doesn't go well, we'll go with Iriarte. And I'm watching Smith and Schultz. They're right there. They're right there about to get called up. So we'll keep an eye on them. The bullpen's doing good. I don't want to touch the bullpen. Everyone's holding it down. I need to make the playoffs. Like, this is a big year, and we're so close. The team is doing great, and I'm just going to move past the deadline. And please tell me we won this game. We did. That's big. That's big. Can we win this game too? That's huge. So, yeah, we had the 4th pick, and the CPU gave me the #1 overall player in the draft. He's 78 overall. The only issue with him is the hits per nine's low. The hits per nine's low. I'll show you the other player that I was tempted in picking up instead of who I went with. And it was, I got to find the name. It was, where is he? It was the second baseman. Just because I wasn't sure what was happening with Caballero and Mauricio, I figured let's maybe potentially take a second baseman. Just the lack of power, it's just really boring, especially a guy who's 6'3". I feel like he should have a little bit more power. This guy wasn't even on my radar with 99 potential, but he's only 62 overall. So there's that. Outside of that, though, I mean, our second pick was a guy that we discovered, a 5'7" third baseman. So I'm probably going to move him to second base, but the hitting stats are there too. So another guy that we can develop in the farm system with decent speed, okay-ish fielding. And then we just got a bunch of like just players to fill out the squad. Like this guy who's 5'8" with no power. This guy is just kind of well-rounded for a 61 overall middle infielder. And then a couple pitchers to fill out the draft. I feel like that's a good draft. That's another good draft. We've done really well with our players. I forgot to mention last draft, no quirks on any of the players, which is a bummer, but it happens. I can't nail it every single time. So we've got a 4.5 game deficit behind the Tigers because I don't think the wild card is going to be attainable unless these teams just absolutely fall apart. So we got to get lucky in the Central. So we won the division 83-79. I think this last game here, these last 2 games was those 2 games were the reason we won. Those 2 games were the reason that we won the division. And 83 games was not close. We were going to be 4 games out of the wild card. So those last 2 games of the season were huge, especially because look at this little skid we had towards the final week of the season. A loss. We got swept twice. So that was brutal. The big thing here that won us the division was we swept the Tigers right after the trade deadline. We swept the Rangers. We swept the Tigers again. You know, winning the series against the Mariners, swept the Guardians. Yeah, we did get swept by the Guardians the next time, but we started putting it together. You know, it looks like we swept the Braves. That's a good win, sweeping the Twins here. But yeah, we almost threw it away on the final week of the season with those 2 series that we got swept. So luckily, we held it down. We are going to be facing the the Orioles. But you know what? We made the postseason. So we can check off rule number 1 or goal number 1 and goal number 2 of rebuilding on the cheap and finding diamonds in the rough. So let's talk about the team. Actually, let's go through the awards because apparently we have an award. We got Rookie of the Year. Okay, that makes sense. Brent Rooker won MVP along with Ohtani. We've got Glasnow and McClanahan as the Cy Young winners. Tucker and Xavier Edwards with his second batting title, by the way. Chris Bubich, I always forget which one it is. And then Mason Miller as the relievers of the year. Rookie of the Year goes to Jeff Landgraf, and also Kyle Teal was in the mix. And who won it on the NL side? Jermaine Rode, who was a season 1 draft pick. I remember that for sure. So let's talk about the diamonds in the rough because we have found some. Hold on, come on, you can't send down Michael Conforto. Pitching rotation wise, I'd say Jonathan Cannon has been kind of that underrated player for the rotation. I mean, the first season sucked, right? 2025 rough, real rough, but last 2 seasons a sub-4 ERA. I'll take that. You know, about under a 1-2 whip as well. Like that's good. Like I'll definitely take that from my starter. Obviously Bueller and Bryce Wilson were a little bit better. Bryce Wilson, I wouldn't say he was like a diamond in the rough, but at least he was a consistent arm for us, right? Like low 4, high 3 ERA. The whip's not terrible. So like realistically, I would go with Cannon as our starting kind of gem to start us off in the rebuild. And then the bullpen has been a mess, so I'm not even going to try to pick somebody out. We've been in and out with so many different names. But offensively, I mean, Conforto was pretty good. I really wasn't expecting to be able to pick him up. But Yeah, I feel like the diamond in the rough offensively has been pretty tough to find. I mean, maybe Bobby Dahlbeck. I mean, as a bench bat, he's been fairly good over 3 seasons. He's hitting about like what 240-ish with like a 330-ish, 340-ish on base percentage. I mean, the OPS is probably like mid to high sevens. I mean, that's not bad, but again, like I'm not trying to force it there. I mean, maybe our draft picks are probably what's going to save us here in Landgraf and Stephen Hunt, who came in, gave me 168 ABs and was pretty good. So we'll have to wait and see what happens moving forward. But I feel like rebuilding on the cheap, we stuck to it, where no player had higher than a Robert contract. We stayed with 76 or lower, which was difficult to do. And once we head into the offseason, we'll talk about goal number 3. But the most important thing, I mean, I guess we should probably talk about the team as a whole. Like, Arise was actually pretty cold, and towards the end of the season, he picked it up. I'm not going to bring him back. It's time to get rid of the 2 stipulations we have for building this roster, and now just full send it to win a World Series. I mean, an 813 OPS, I'll take that all day. Rookie of the year, obviously, that's a good season. 33 home runs in your rookie year, 26 stolen bases, only 1 time caught stealing. Robert, I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna re-sign him. We gotta keep him. Conforto will not be brought back, but he was good for $5 million for 2 seasons. I'll take it for sure. Evan Carter, some good, some bad. We'll see what he does next year. Ronnie Mauricio, I think, is a guy that will probably move to the bench. Realistically, Hunt's probably holding it down at third. He looks like he's going to be a good player moving forward. Colson Montgomery, a way better season than he had last year. I like to see that. Almost 20 home runs. Kyle Teal, maybe he moves to first, and then Cuero comes up. Where's Cuero? And even Cuero's hitting stats aren't that much like better. Brandon Montgomery developed a little bit, but still like not there yet. And then if we're taking a look at our other guys, and Huerta, and where's the other one? Huerta, and where's the other one? Or we're missing somebody. Whatever. Oh, did we trade the first baseman? We did trade the first baseman for Evan Carter. That's right. But yeah, I feel like Conforto's going to be gone, so we'll need a DH. First base is a question mark for sure, right? We did draft that third baseman who could move to second base, but I don't think he's ready to be called up immediately. So there's going to be some question marks in the team for sure. And then, of course, pitching wise, definitely need to upgrade it. I think Thorpe is going to move up for sure in the rotation. Realistically, he should be like our 2 here. And then maybe Cannon, Ashcraft moves over here with Iriarte. And our young guys here with Hagen Smith up to a 78, probably gets his debut next year. Where is Schultz? Schultz probably gets his debut next year at some point too. We've got arms, and we gotta raise the floor of the team, the talent on the squad. We gotta pick it up a little bit. So now facing the Orioles, how are we gonna do? We win the first and the second, and we advance to take on the Astros. So for this, let's go like this and get it going against the Astros, where we are 1-1, 2-1. And you know what? We're facing the Yankees, which, excuse me, what is going on here? So Thorpe pitched in, so it's Cannon. So it's going to be, oh man, everybody's kind of getting rocked here. So I might just leave it as is. It is the Yankees. If we lose, I mean, I'm still really happy with the way the season went. 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. We're 1 game away from a World Series. And it comes down to Game 7 against the Yankees. Drew Thorpe, Luis Hill. Well, yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good team. Holy cow. Yikes. With the pitching with Framber, Fott, Nelson, I mean, it's a good bullpen. That's a good offense. Compared to us, man, we are nowhere near as good. So, like, if we win, great. But, like, if we lose, I'm still super proud of what this team just put up. And we are down 0-2. Okay. A little comeback season? No. Okay, Game 7, Bryce Wilson, Zach Little. And we do fall 12-2 on the final game of... Oh, man, we brought it back. And then we lose the final 2. Oh, the fight in the team, though, man. The fight in the team. Luis Robert, playoff MVP. I mean, that's fitting. Oh, 21 RBIs? Was he just the entire offense? Holy cow. Holy cow. All right. Pitching wise, I saw there was some rough inflated numbers for sure. Starters got roughed up a little bit towards the end of the postseason. Bullpen, it looks like for the most part held it down. Alrighty, we're in the offseason, and transactions wise, let me show you what I did. So all those guys up there became free agents. Bueller, Wilson, Lopez, Conforto, Ty France, Arias, Baraki, and Stassi. I just didn't really see them as guys I would use in the future. And then as you can see on 10/31, I re-signed Morihone for just under $1 million, Kopech for $5 million, Luis Robert got $100 million for 5 seasons, and then AJ Puck got 2 years, $14 million. So let's talk about part 2 of this rebuild. We've finished the rebuild on a budget and diamonds in the rough. So phase 2 is we got to trade away those extra prospects, that deadwood, to elevate the floor of the squad. We've already got a decent squad, a playoff team. Now we got to really be contenders. And then goal number 4 is to acquire 190 rated pitcher and 190 rated hitter. I feel like Brent Rooker would be an easy trade, and he did just hit 54 home runs. That's a DH. That's the DH. That would solve. Look at the DH is currently Corey Julks or Bobby Dolbeck. That is a huge upgrade immediately. So that would just leave first base open, which easy position to fill, right? So with that in mind, do I do Brent Rooker as the DH, or do I find somebody else that could potentially be that Rafi Devers? That could also be the DH. Contract is way bigger and way longer. He is also lefty compared to Brent Rooker, who is a righty, and we do need a righty in the lineup. We could really use a righty in the lineup. I mean, look at what we've currently got. We've got a switch hitter, lefty, switch, left. Oh, that's a pitcher. So like, oh man, if I get Devers, I definitely need to sign a righty to play first base. If I get Rooker, I could really just go either way. I guess I could still get another righty. And also Ronnie Mauricio's spot's not saved. And I really need pitching. I think the best way to do it is acquire a hitter through trades and sign pitching. Yeah, I think that's the move. So Devers or Rooker? Devers or Rooker? Oh man, Devers for Iriarte straight up, basically. What is Brent Rooker going to require? Nope, not Neto. A little bit more than Devers. I mean, the numbers though, 54 home runs with 123 RBIs compared to not that. Devers is easier to acquire though. Is Brent Rooker regressing? Let's go Brent Rooker. And then I also do have to do a Red Sox rebuild anyways. So that would work out. I could just do that. So let me get this Brent Rooker deal done. All right, so Brent Rooker, new DH for Iriarte, Mays, and Mays. So there we go. Boom, that is done. Actually wanted to see if we got any quirks on our players. Haubrick has 2. Okay. Rush does not as a pitcher. That's a bummer. Gingrich, Blanton does. Homebody and first pitch hitter. Ooh, okay. That's good. And then McMahon doesn't. So, also before I forget, I want to make Blanton a second baseman because he is extremely short. And I don't think he can play third base at 5'7". So there we go. So he's going to move up to a 68 overall because of the position change. And now it's time to target at least 2 pitchers. So I'm going to need a left-handed pitcher or a right-handed pitcher. It doesn't matter. I want starting pitching, relief pitching, and then potentially a first baseman. So pitchers right off the rip. Do we go Logan Gilbert, 30 years old, just came off of a really good season? Do we go after Justin Steele? Do we go after Shane McClanahan, who's also 30 years old, who also came off of a crazy good season? Or maybe Alcantara. I feel like we don't have a lefty. McClanahan would be good. Gilbert would also be good though. I think I'm going to go Gilbert. Yeah, I'm going to go Gilbert. I think he's going to be my number 1 target. I still want another pitcher. How much? Is there any other A potential players? Joe Musgrove, Zach Wheeler. Okay, I think, do I go for the top 2? That would be crazy. I'm gonna go for Logan Gilbert. I'm gonna leave the rest to surprise. I'll see you guys for the start of season 4. All right, so we made the trade, right? I think I need to replace second base. Do I rock with the 18-year-old that we just drafted, or do we trade for a third baseman and move Punt to second base? Kyle Teel is gonna play first base. That is something that I've decided. So, could I go get Devers? Is that something that we do, or do we rock with the homegrown talent and just stick him at second base right off the rip? That would be a really young team, and that would like 100% like I would have to full send it on the pitching staff, right? Because it's probably going to be Thorpe, Hagens, and Schultz. That was the name I couldn't come up with. And then even like Clifford Rush could potentially be a guy that gets into the mix at some point too. Grant Taylor could also be in the mix too. Like, holy cow, dude. I mean, I think we could win it if we just put that young player at second base. But at the same time, I feel like we do need to elevate the team. Like that was the whole point that we need to do. And I've looked around, like there are some good shortstops. I just don't know how many are that attainable. Like Bo Bichette, he's fine, right? Like that's fine. Corey Seager, I mean, that can't be too difficult to get, right? It's not. Do I pick up a really bad Corey Seager contract? And then he plays shortstop and Colson Montgomery moves to third, Hunt moves to second. That's definitely a possibility, because otherwise I think the only other player that I could get is Devers that would elevate the team enough where it's like, yeah, let's go pick him up. Like that's really about it. I've looked. It's either Devers or Corey Seager. 31. How old was... Where is he? Where is Seager? 33. So 2 years difference. I think Devers makes the most sense. For once, the Red Sox are going to give us a player instead of us shipping the player to them. So we're gonna pick up Devers. We're gonna pick up Devers. It's not gonna be. I guess we could throw Blanco in. We'll give them Blanco. We'll give them Bliss. And how else? Who's gonna be traded to make this deal possible? Montgomery. Give them back Montgomery. That would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. But I'm gonna see if we can find somebody else. Maybe does the first baseman work? He does not. I'm assuming Blanton works. Oh yeah, he does. Is there another pitcher that I could throw into the mix to get the deal done here as we creep up? Grant Taylor. I was kind of hoping to use him as like a long reliever this year. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's the only way I'm gonna get it done, unless there's a reliever who I could throw into the mix, which I don't think I'm going to. So yeah, it's gonna come down to either Grant Taylor or Blanton or Braden Montgomery. Braden Montgomery, we're gonna wrap up this rebuild in style. You can have him back. You can play him in center field. Yeah, this was needed. This was needed. This was we need. Yeah. This is such a juicy team now. Are you serious? This team's gross. I don't even know how to line this up, but I'm gonna figure it out, and we're gonna have some fun with it. Like, do I lead off Robert? Like something like that. That's crazy though. So maybe something like this. That might be the move. That might be the move. And then like he rounds it out. So he starts it off for the top of the lineup. That could be the move. This might be what we do. That's a lot of lefties in the mix though. But it's only gonna see, this is the problem now. I got too many lefties. It doesn't matter. We're winning the World Series. This team's gross. Let's go get some pitching. So hey Antonio, how's free agency going? Oh, my top 2 players that I wanted just combined for 12 years, $378 million to the Yankees. So yeah, I will not be acquiring a 90 overall pitcher through free agency this year. That's a bit of a bummer. And I also totally didn't think about the fact that Devers' contract was so big. So now my budget's a little bit smaller than I anticipated. With that in mind, I am going to go after Alcantara, potentially Bailey Ober. With that being said, if he hits 90, I am going to count it as a 90 overall player that we do acquire, but I'm also just going to trade for one as well because Logan Webb is available. And you're probably thinking, holy cow, Antonio, you're clearing out the farm system. Hey, I want to win. And we've drafted so well that we can afford to get rid of some of these prospects. So with that in mind, there we go. Logan Webb, who's coming off of a fairly good season last year and the year before, and expiring contract's not the best, but you know what? Let's pick him up. He is a 90 rated pitcher. There we go. That's the trade. One thing that has actually changed is my team quality. I was actually an underdog to Logan Gilbert and Shane McClanahan, but now that I have Logan Webb, I'm a contender. So I'm working on trying to get Griffin Jax. I'm also going to add another reliever. I looked at the reliever market and I was like, you know what? I could use one of those. I could use one of those. So I'm gonna see what other arms are available. Not a lot of good ones. Oh boy. Sandlin maybe? I'll throw him on, but I'm not feeling great about that addition. Maybe Edwin, I'll throw him on, but again, I don't feel great about it. We'll see what happens. This is probably the last big pickup of the offseason because the team is looking juicy now heading into season 4. Teams in baseball to the 9th ranked team in baseball, 15th in contact, 3rd in power, top 10 in pitching, top 5 in speed. This team is completely different from when we started. And in the offseason, we didn't get our top 2 targets in Logan Gilbert or Shane McClanahan. They both went to the Yankees, which was super disappointing. But instead, we went out and traded for Logan Webb. Our farm system is looking pretty thin. We'll take a look at that in a second. But we also signed Sandy Alcantara, which I thought was a pretty big pickup for $30 million over the next 3 seasons. He's been pretty consistent, so I'm hoping he can continue to deal. Then we've got Thorpe, Schultz, and Cannon. I can't take Cannon out. He's been too consistent for us. Williamson in this role is a little worrying, but we've got Rush, we've got Grant Taylor, and we got Hagen Smith. So like we've got guys on deck ready to go if need be. Bullpen, I'm feeling pretty confident with a couple of the guys that we have in AAA if we need to turn to them. But we've got Kopech, we've got Morejon, we've got Coleman. We brought in Will Vest as a bullpen arm, 9.2 mil. It was a little expensive, but he's been fairly good. Puck, and then Tristan Beck. So team's been looking pretty solid. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Offensively, this is currently what the bench is looking like. A lot of the same faces. I feel like they've kind of earned the right to be on the bench here. And then, I mean, look at this team. We've got Jeff Landgraf, who we drafted. He looks unbelievable. The Rookie of the Year winner. Brent Rooker in the 2 spot is a little strange, but like, do I go Devers in the 4? But the thing is, like, I'm trying to find a way to like at least make it so it's not just lefty, 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 lefty. But it's going to happen. There really isn't any other way that I could do it. So unless I let off, yeah, I've got to do it this way. So we've got Brent Rooker in the 2, Devers. I mean, that's dumb. Yeah, Robert's going to be in the 4, Devers in the 3, Evan Carter, Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teal at first now, Cuero, and Stephen Hunt rounding it all up. I mean, a lot of prospects involved, a lot of guys that we drafted involved. I'm feeling good about this. A good mix of new and homegrown. I mean, the farm system's looking a little thin. I'm not gonna lie. We've got Clifford Rush, Huerta, who's working his way up the ladder. Schultz still there, Hagen Smith there. We've got this guy who we just drafted, but like no power whatsoever. It definitely fell off losing that second baseman that we drafted, and we sent him to the Giants. But you know what? I'm feeling good about this team. Like, this is definitely a World Series winning team. Let's see if we can end it in season 4. Another division win, 92-70, taking on the winner of the wild card. It will be either the Mariners or the Tigers. We have a league leader, Devers, with WAR. I will take it. No award, though. What? Santander beat Devers in the MVP race. Was that every year a different MVP for once? Normally it's just like the same guy every single time. So it's cool to see. But then, of course, Ohtani is the guy that's going to win it every single time on the NL side. So there's that. We've got Roki Sasaki, who is going to be, I mean, it's just going to be the Dodgers every single time, I guess, in franchise for Cy Young. McClanahan, of course, he won it. Logan Gilbert's there too, of course. We've got batting title of Kyle Tucker and Acuna. And then reliever of the year goes to Tanner Scott along with Andres Munoz. Ivan Melendez, really. He is the rookie of the year with 30 home runs. Not bad. And Schultz was in the mix. And then Gabriel Rincones Jr. of the Phillies. Okay. Let me set up this roster. Pitching rotation, we're going to have Hagen Smith as a long reliever. He only pitched 40 innings or 35 innings, and it wasn't amazing. I will also say, where is he? Grant Taylor pitched a little bit, and out of the bullpen, not bad. Small sample size, but not bad. And then Noah Schultz is also going to pitch out of the bullpen. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're going to rock for the long relief roles. Kopech, 2 seasons, really good. Talk about a Rule 5 pickup. Love to see it. Brandon Williamson, I honestly had low expectations for this guy. I thought maybe a season, he gave us 2 pretty solid seasons. And I mean, I can't complain about that at all. Jonathan Cannon struggled as a starter. I'm going to put him in the middle relief role for the playoffs, see how he does here. AJ Puck, a little bit of a down year compared to last year, but still pretty solid. Will Vest took over the setup role, and then Tristan Beck held it down as a closer. Our starters, Logan Webb was fantastic, followed by Sandy Alcantara, where I'm actually going to make him the starter for game 1. Drew Thorpe continues to just develop, get really good. Love to see it. And then Clifford Rush, he made his debut, got 12 starts, went 4-4. I can't complain about those numbers. He looks pretty good at 81 overall. He's going to be the 4 starter for the playoffs. Lineup wise, we do have a couple cold bats. That's not ideal. The bench, Ronnie Mauricio is just that bench guy. That's what we should have been doing with him the whole time. Bobby Dahlbeck continues to just get on base at a really good level off the bench. Caballero, his best season so far? Maybe. And then Corey Lee was the backup catcher. So, Jolks also hit almost 300 off the bench. So the bench showed up this season. And when you take a look at the rest of the team, 33 home runs from Landgraf, it's got to be Landgraf, right? Landgraf? I don't even know. Like, how would that be a Dominican? Whatever. It's not important. Either way, 33 home runs, 33 stolen bases. Love to see it. Did he get another award this year? He did not. Okay, that's fine. Brett Rooker, 38 home runs, really good season. Not as many as, last year, but still pretty good. What year was this? This was 2028. So we got a Silver Slugger. Love to see it. Devers, an All-Star and a Silver Slugger. Hit 305 with 42 home runs. Talk about a pickup. Luis Robert just continues to do Luis Robert things. 20 home runs with every average at 230. Did he have an award? He got a playoff MVP. That was really about it. That was last year when we went to the World Series. Evan Carter, honestly, a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. He was a little disappointing this rebuild. I was really hoping he could have been a catalyst for our team. I mean, he still hit, mid-teens for home runs, some stolen bases, some doubles, but I was expecting a little bit better. He is still only 25, so he could develop, but yeah, I was expecting a little better. Colson Montgomery, another player that just didn't live up to the hype. It's unfortunate. 26 years old, though, so still time to grow. Same thing with Kyle Teal, not ideal. And then Edgar Cuero now has sea potential. So, yeah, that's bad. But Stephen Hunt, hey, it was okay. He kind of did what he did last year. So there we go. The team's set. I'm ready for the postseason. We are going to take on... Who are we going to take on? Can I see who we're going to take on really quick? I need to see this. It is going to be the Tigers. Let's take a look at their lineup really quickly. It is going to be, they have a Rise. We let him walk. Is he gonna be a thorn in our side? They've got Marsh, Green, Royce Lewis. The Twins traded Royce Lewis to them. They got Big Dumper. Okay. Pitching looks like the Tigers. Couple new additions to the bullpen, but I don't know. I feel like we can beat this team. All right, Manning, Alcantara. I feel like we have the pitching matchup here. We do not. We lose. And the second one. We win the next 2 though. We win the next 2 and it comes down to Skubal versus Alcantara and we win 8-2. That's a good win right there. Now for the Orioles, I'm assuming this team's going to be juiced. Jackson Holiday, Gunnar Henderson. Ian Happ's still pretty decent. Colton Cowser. That's a pretty good heart of the lineup for sure. Pitching wise, again, that's a pretty strong team. And I do have to change a couple things. How many days? So Alcantara could probably pitch game 2. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to rock with. So that would be like 1, 2. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe he pitches game 3. So we're going to have him pitch game 3. I think that's what we're going to do. Alrighty, Logan Webb, Dylan Cease. That's a good pitching matchup when we win 3-2. Clifford Rush on the mound for game 2. And he gets the win. Okay, Sandy Alcantara versus Grayson Rodriguez. We win 8-5. And can Drew Thorpe complete the sweep? He can, and we are taking on the Braves in the World Series. Back-to-back World Series for the White Sox. And looking at the team, Garrett Hampson at 81. Okay. Acuna 99. That's a good team. Travis Bazana's on the team. Strider, Pablo Lopez, Justin Steele. Those were 2 free agents this year, so they picked them up this year. No wonder they're in the World Series. Logan Webb, game 1. Did Alcantara just pitch, I'm assuming? No, it was Thorpe. So we could go Alcantara. We can go Alcantara, Webb, Rush Thorpe. Yes. Yes. Offensively, do we have to make any changes? Ooh, maybe. So game 1, Alcantara versus Spencer Strider. I mean, that's a battle for sure, and we win 4-2. We lose the next one. The third, we win 8-5. So the series is now 2-1, and we are one game away from a World Series victory. And you know what? Let's rock the Southside City Connects at home at Rate Field, whatever it's called now. Alcantara on the mound. Let's see here. I think we're gonna rock with this. Yep. Let's do it. Oh, this is a new setup for the quick manage. Okay. Pitch, strikeout, a ground out. Okay. I like that. All right, good start. How about offensively? Nothing. Not ideal. We gotta get the bat. No. One Jared Kelnick. A single for them and another single. And 2-run score there. Runner was thrown out going home. It's 3-0. That is not good. But we do get a single and a double play. All right, cool. Spencer Strider is going to be a tough matchup. So, like, that's good, though. The double. Come on. We got to get the run in, guys. We do, thanks to Robert. And that's it. So, it is 3-1, though. An error, guys. Why are we doing this to our pitcher? We get one back, and then, I mean, let's just half inning, we allowed a run. Half inning, we don't score. Half inning, we allow 4. Oh, we came back 9-5. It's Jover, as they say. I mean, realistically, it's Jover. It is. We got to go to the next one. That wasn't our day for sure. It's fine. I feel still very comfortable about how this is going. So yeah, we have to head to Atlanta now. But you know what? We got Logan Webb on the mound. Perfect. So, facing Pablo Lopez, who has been absolutely nasty this postseason, we need to be on our A game. We cannot go any further in this series. We gotta end it this game, because if we go further, it's gonna swing in their favor and they're gonna win 100%. So we got to close it out here. There we go. Edgar Cuero almost got taken out of the lineup, and he delivers with the bomb. There we go. First and second with, where are the outs here? 2 outs in the top right corner. And who's up? Brent Rooker could have really opened up this game. Unfortunately, couldn't deliver. It's fine. We've got the lead. We're looking good. This is not great, but he gets out of it with the double play. Talk about clutch by Logan Webb. But you walk Garrett Hampson? You can't be walking Garrett Hampson, man. You just can't do that and expect to get away with things like that, especially in the heart of their lineup. Steve Hunt, are you serious? With the solo shot to tie it up? That's amazing. Let's get the sack, the double play. Are you serious? The double play on the sack fly to end the inning. Are we serious? Yeah, I mean, it's tied though, so we're looking good. They're gonna go to a pitching change. Darius Vines not having the best postseason. This is our chance to deliver. Is Vines a lefty? He's a righty. All right, perfect. All right, swing away. We get the walk by Edgar Cuero, a fly out, and then a ground out. All right, so we couldn't do anything there. A single, a fly out, a stolen base, still gets out of it. All right, team, let's wake up a little bit. This is Darius Vines. This isn't Randy Johnson. This isn't Roger Clemens. We should be able to do something here. And Colson Montgomery in the clutch gets us the lead. 8th inning, let's go to our setup man, Mr. Vest, and let's hopefully close it out here. There it is. All right, so the 8th inning is closed. Heading into the 9th, can we get a couple insurance runs? Anything would be great. It's not looking like it, so you know who's coming on to close it. Tristan Beck. Ooh, they do have 3 lefties up, though, so I might go with Puck. I might go with Puck here. First pitch, strikeout. Second pitch, strikeout. We got to enter the game. And it all comes down to AJ Puck versus Travis Bazzana, who's having a crazy postseason. It looks like a 351 average, a good fastball to start the at-bat. Look at the beard, majestic. He's feeling it. Rainy weather, bottom 9, 2 outs. The White Sox are 1 out away from a World Series. And that's the second strike the slider up in the zone. Can AJ Puck put him away? Can he do it? One strike away. Here it is. The Chicago White Sox, World Series champions. So here it is. The trophy ceremony, wrapping the rebuild up. We did it. We turned this team from the worst team in baseball to the best team in baseball with some of the biggest restrictions possible. Holy cow, we did it. Chicago White Sox 2028 World Series. Let's go see who the MVP is and wrap up this video. It was our very first draft pick ever, Jeff Landgraf. He was the World Series MVP at 364 average, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and there it is, wrapping it up. Look at that team. Look at that team. I like it. I'm like really pumped about the team that we put together here. I mean, like these 3 here, White Sox prospects. We got Robert. We got a couple others, especially the pitchers. The pitchers got involved, especially at the end of the year when we needed that playoff push. Clifford Rush, at 21 years old, coming into the team and delivering in the postseason. That is amazing. Kopech back as a White Sox, now winning a World Series with them. I mean, the stories write themselves. I hope you enjoyed the first rebuild for MLB The Show 25. I'm looking to get the next rebuild out either tomorrow or the day after. So let me know in the comment section what team you want to see next, what type of rebuild you want to see next. Like the video, subscribe if you're looking for more MLB content, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.